Hello everyone, this is Albert, and I imagine some of you might be watching because of the title of this video, perhaps out of curiosity. It's not the sort of thing I would normally speak on. And the only reason I'm even mentioning it is because of a couple of videos that apparently have been making the rounds. Now, they're not the rounds that I'm normally in, and I'd like to keep it that way. And I suppose most of the people watch my videos. We're a small group, but I'm appreciative of you. They generally would not take them very seriously either. The only reason I happened to know about it is there was an article written by Dan Wallaces, who's one of the leading New Testament scholars, and he had been asked about these videos somehow, and took a look at it himself, and took the time to actually write a response instead of just laughing at them, which is probably what I would have done. But apparently in some evangelical circles, they've gotten enough attention that he felt a response was needed. Of course, once I saw the article, you had to follow I couldn't resist following the link and taking a look at myself. What's going to follow are just some general comments. I'm not going to deal in any point-by-point analysis of these videos. I think Wallace, whose article I will link to on the sidebar, does a pretty good job of demolishing them. But I just have to make some comments on them. And maybe these comments are a little too obvious, but I just have to say something. The first of the two videos tries to make a connection between Barack Obama and the Antichrist. Granted, this is not necessarily anything new. Every major world figure of the last half century has been declared the Antichrist by somebody. My own personal favorite were the nutcases who thought Pope John Paul II was the Antichrist and would cement it by rising from the dead during his funeral. You don't hear a whole lot about them anymore. The video in this case is complete dribble. It's one of those leaps of logic where you stretch one point and then stretch another, then another, and so forth until you've treated the truth like silly putty that you may twist and invert into your own personal Mobius strip. It starts out by making connections with Jesus speaking Aramaic and then boldly states that Aramaic is the most ancient form of Hebrew. Huh? That's like saying Spanish is the most ancient form of French. Aramaic and Hebrew are related. They're cognate languages, but they're separate languages that happen to have shared at times an alphabet, but could hardly be equated. This is the first of many complete misrepresentations that consist of wanting to conclude Obama is the Antichrist and then going out and making something up to prove it. The second video seems designed to deflect accusations of their own insanity and or incompetence. My own guess is that they sort of are making excuses, maybe a little sensitive to the fact that Daniel Wallace just basically ripped them a new butthole, and they keep referring to how some rabbi confirmed their conclusions but do not exactly say how or give much in the way of details. It also really matters little since the actual linguistic evidence is against them. And besides the point, individual rabbis are no more necessarily Hebrew scholars than individual pastors are scholars in Koine Greek. What do the lexicons worked out by experts or the experts themselves say of this construction? I'll let you know as soon as they stop laughing. The truly disingenuous thing about this second video is that the producers state they are not necessarily claiming Obama is the Antichrist, but just showing some evidence and letting Christians make up their own minds. Please spare me. You have just produced a video that points to a sitting president as the spawn of Satan, and now you tell me you just want a free intellectual discussion about it. You make an incendiary accusation, get cold on it, and now you just wanted this frank and open discussion of the issues. Look, I'm all in favor of an open discussion, but how exactly do you have an open discussion about your opponents when you begin by declaring the discussion is about them being the son of Lucifer? This would be as if I had stated that you were a meth addict, and then when you protested, I said, I just wanted to put all the issues out there and have a free and open discussion about it. One cannot have a free discussion about one's opponents being evil incarnate. But don't get me wrong, I certainly don't want you to take down this video, and I certainly do not want it censored. In fact, I want it to get lots of exposure. Now, granted, it's gotten a lot more exposure than any video I'll ever make, but I want everyone to see it, and I want them to know the context. I want them to see that ideas like this do not actually come from, you know, the Christians who go to church every Sunday and try to honor God and respect their fellow human beings as being made in the image of God. No, these are made up by the strange groups that follow black helicopters, crop circles, and chemtrails. And if you don't believe me, when I say not only look at this video, but click on the username and check out all his videos. And you'll see exactly where what sort of realm this is coming from. Of course, none of this has to do anything to do with whether Obama is a good president or even a nice guy. I didn't vote for the guy. I probably wouldn't vote for him a second time, but that's different. You see, that's a whole different question. I mean, punning to the collective egos called Congress on healthcare may be irresponsible, but it hardly qualifies you as the son of perdition. Besides, one would think the Antichrist would be wowing the world, and it seems the only group this guy can wow is MSNBC. But if bad policies were a sign of demonic possession, then all of Washington would have had glowing eyes, tails, and horns, and be carrying around little pitchforks. Main thing I'm making for this video is to warn Christians against falling for nonsense like this sort of sensationalism that this guy's the Antichrist, or this is the sign of the whatever destruction of the world, or the fact is that these guys have been doing this for half a century or more, probably for more centuries. When you think about it, you know, it would be one thing if someone who was normally you know, if you saw like N.T. Wright making predictions, you know, oh, this is getting near the end, I mean, you'd say, whoa, that's really out of character. But when you get guys who are making the predictions of the world every 6 months, the end of the world, then, you know, I mean, Hal Lindsey, we all know Hal Lindsey? I mean, late great Planet Earth. And what about 1980s Countdown to Armageddon? And how long ago was that? And Y2K, Will Mankind Survive? Those were some of his books for those of you who aren't aware of it. So obviously these sort of people this is their industry. And what I'm saying is you really shouldn't be paying a whole lot of attention to them. They simply aren't worth the effort. Thank you very much for your time.